All right, Shalom, Shalom. This is your brother Issachar coming back at you with another lesson. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Wakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect and the 144,000 scattered across the four corners of the earth. Shalom to you. All right, today's lesson, we're going to go into the earthquakes, okay? How this is spoken about in prophecy. Because you just had earthquake today that happened in, I believe it was San Diego, right? It was like a 6.7 earthquake. All right, we'll go into that. Then, you had another earthquake that happened a few days ago in Thailand. So you're just having these earthquakes happen all over the place. You had that other earthquake that happened, what was that, like 2 weeks ago, where those buildings were falling on people and all that, And China, they're having, hurricanes, different parts of the earth. They're having like sandstorms, stuff like that. All right, so this is something that you have to consider, because all these things are not just happening. It's not just a coincidence, It's not just a coincidence. So this is something that you really have to consider, because it's like, man, Yahweh Bashim Shai told us of all these things. Okay, St. Luke chapter 21 verse 11. And great earthquakes shall be in diverse places. So great earthquakes, because these ain't just gonna be, this is just the beginning. It's not just gonna be a few earthquakes here and there. No, this is it's great earthquakes, because these earthquakes are gonna be so massive that people are gonna die, like you've been seeing already. All right, that earthquake that happened in San Diego was right next to the San Andreas Fault. It's about to get wild out here. Remember that, where the earth's actually gonna open up. It's gonna get very to the extreme out here. You have you got sandstorms happening. All right, there are some strong hurricanes out there in China. We're talking very strong, where people are getting swept away. All right. St. Luke chapter 21 verse 11. And great earthquakes shall be in diverse places. So great earthquakes shall be in diverse places. All right, so that's diverse. Just means that places where they don't normally happen. Okay, and famines. So there goes that famine again. All right, a lack of food, water. All right, because once people lose like their apartments, especially those people who live like in condos, luxury apartments, like in downtown areas, like your major cities where they have like, pretty big buildings. Okay, when those buildings collapse, people are going to need shelter. They're going to need help, food. So when these earthquakes come, pestilence, people are going to need food, right away, And that's even before these elites cut off the food supply, because remember, they're gonna cut it off. They're gonna strategically starve the people out, because it's order out of chaos for the new world order. Okay, problem, reaction, solution. Order out of chaos. All right, and why do they work like that? Simply because they worship Satan. All right, Shaitan. That's their master. Okay, is Satan. All right, so that's how they're gonna bring in their new world order. Okay, they're not doing it out of righteousness, to do it out of the law, from the scriptures, and set up a new world order according to the Lord. No, they're doing it according on wickedness. Okay, on the left hand side. See that? So this is how you know that. This is how you know that it's gonna fail. Okay, this is how you know for sure it's gonna fail, because it's not of Yahweh. It's not of Yahweh Bashim Shai. All right, the left hand side has, they do have a little power. but that's only what the Lord allows them to do. All right, so they're trying to establish something that the Lord's not with. All right, but the Lord is gonna allow him to, do stuff like that. As far as start people out, bring pestilence, more pandemics, a lot. And pestilence and fearful sights and great signs shall there be from heaven. Okay, so fearful sights. Okay, fearful sights. All right, and great signs, because one great sign is the children of Israel are waking back up. Okay, the children of Israel waking back up. That's a great sign. All right, because these heathens, okay, and Edomites are petrified. All right, they may act like they're cool, but they're freaking out. Okay, all right, because if they say that they're not nervous because they're about to perish and go into slavery, they're lying. I mean, they may act tough in front of their team and stuff, but so you don't think that's not on their mind? Why do you think our enemies are scrambling? They're desperate. They're trying to stop this thing, but they can't. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It don't matter how much they join forces or whatever. They're not gonna do anything that the Lord says. Fact. So that's why we're happy, because we know that we're at our enemy's end. And the Lord's doing all this right before our eyes. Earthquakes. Look what earthquakes, buildings falling on people. That big hurricane that happened in China. Look at our enemies. Now it's clear. Trump and Iran, the latest. Now they're saying that Iran does have nuclear missiles now. See, of course they do. They're friends with Russia. That's the thing. No military is gonna tell another, especially like their enemy. What they got. Why would they tell them what they got? Every military is gonna hide the good shit. Okay, no one's gonna tell you exactly what they got. Why would they do that? That's like telling on themselves. Why would they say, okay, yeah, we got 4 nukes or 5 nukes? Something or like 3. Why would they say that? Of course they're gonna lie. They're gonna every big military that has good stuff, they're gonna hide the good shit. They're not gonna tell you exactly what they got. Because why would they do that? See, but now it's coming out. Just to show that it's ready. All right, and there's that. One thing America doesn't have, they don't have that much missile defense mechanisms. All right, just Russia missiles in itself, they don't have. Let's say, forget about China, forget about Iran. Let's just talk about Russia. If Russia were to just fire their missiles over here, America can block maybe a few, but Russia can take down America by themselves with the missiles. Okay, now that's how much missiles they have. Okay, now imagine China, Iran, North Korea. See that Iran has a whole underground city full of ICBMs, and people are walking around out here like, oh, it's all good, looking forward to retirement, all that. This is why we laugh, because our enemies are totally screwed, and a lot of them can't even see it. The ones that are part of the left-hand side, they know. This is why they're nervous. They're scrambling, but they ain't gonna stop anything. Just like what happened with Nimrod, just what happened with Pharaoh. They're gonna step up to get bitch slapped, straight up. Remember, Akim and Akwath, ladies and gentlemen, the wicked are going down. All right, so remember, they're running out of time, not us. For us, it's just beginning. Okay, we're about to rule. All right, have the kingdom, immortality. So we got time. That's one thing that we got. We got time. Our enemies don't got time. This is why they're frantic. They're worrying. They're nervous. Like, damn. Another thing that our enemies, the global elite, something that you guys gotta know, that they're terrified of the 144 being activated. All right, they're terrified. So they're constantly doing sacrifices. They're trying to stop. They're trying to do it as much as they can, because they're trying to stop these prophecies from coming down the pipe. That's why we're laughing. We're just looking at our enemies just scramble. They ain't gonna stop nothing. And there's nothing that they can offer that will appease the right hand side. Okay, nothing. This ain't no Hollywood movie when people can say, "Oh yeah, well give us, some of your women and some of your land." No, okay. The right hand wants your skulls. Okay, we don't give a damn about your women. Okay, your riches. That means nothing. You see? All right. So that's the thing. You can't appease the wrath of the Lord. It's already set. Remember, riches profit not in the day of the Lord's wrath. So it doesn't matter if you say, "Here, take my mansion, take my Ferrari," take some of my take some of our women. Nah, hell no. All of you are about to die, straight up. And we don't want nothing from you guys, anyways. You guys, the wicked are sick and defiled. Why would we take anything from you? The only solution for the wicked is for them to be melted alive. And that's facts. That is your only solution to the wicked, is that they have to perish. Okay, they must go. It's like that, It's just like that. It's just like that. All right, facts. So right there, St. Luke chapter 21 verse 11, and great earthquakes shall be in diverse places, and famines, and pestilence, and fearful sights, and great signs shall there be from heaven. Yeah, remember the blood moon. Okay, there's a lot going on around the world. Okay, let's get those. What was it? That earthquake, right? Let's see here. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, okay, that's one thing that our enemies, that's one thing that they do on the left hand side. They may not show that they're mad or that they're nervous, but they are. All right, I don't care what anybody says. All right, they're freaking they're panicking. Okay, the bosses, yeah, they may act like they're calm in front of their team, because every boss, they're not gonna really show it, only to like their close friends. They'll kind of actually spill like how they feel, but they're tripping. Okay, believe that, and that's why we're laughing, because we know we're not just laughing like a fake laugh to rub it in their face. We're actually laughing at them because they're about to die right before our eyes. We're not being out here being smart asses, and no, these laughs are sincere because we're at their end, and there's nothing that they can do to stop it. You see, so one thing that our enemies, they may act like they're cool, they're not. Okay, they're pissed and they're scared at the same time, because they're mad because they can't destroy the Lord. They can't destroy the ships. They're trying to destroy the so-called UFOs. They can't. They're trying to destroy the men of the Lord. They can't. They're like, damn, these dudes don't die. How do we kill them? They're freaking bulletproof. What the hell? We got our top hunters and assassins on them, and still nothing. It's because remember, the wicked are retarded. Remember that. So, and also remember, because they're nervous. You're telling me they're not going to be nervous because they're trying to fight against something that they can't even stop, even if they tried. And you're telling me they're not nervous? Shoot, they're very nervous. Because it's one thing going against a powerful enemy, but imagine trying to go against an enemy and you can't kill it. You're like, damn, what the hell, and nobody can. It's like shit. Like, it's like, so the wicked right now are like, what do we do now? Exactly, exactly. They got exactly disease. Their face looks exactly like their ass. That's why we're laughing, because they're panicking. It don't matter how many people they got on their payroll. It don't matter. That's why we stay laughing at them, because they're going down. And we know, because the Lord told us, no weapon formed against thee shall prosper. You see? All right, so this is why we're laughing. So let's go into this earthquake. So that's just an FYI, an insider, to let you know what's going on, because you guys got to know what's happening now here. All right, this is like the big stuff. Okay, this is like the top information that a lot of people don't really know. All right, people, they can't take. There's you got CIA, they're tripping out because CIA and FBI are watching the men of the Lord. But there's a lot, there's a lot of teams out here that are from the elites. Illuminati and all them. They're real. Okay, they got real hunters and assassins that actually been trying to take out the man of the Lord, and they can't. So so you don't think they're tripping? They're tripping, man. Yeah, they're dedicated to it, but they can't do nothing. So they're like, damn. So they're scared, but they're mad at the same time because they want to have their way, but too bad. So to all the wicked out there, how's it feel to want? How's it feel to want? You fucking curly fry. How does that feel? To want to destroy someone and you can't. How does it feel? Let's hear it. You fucking bagel. All right, right here, check it out. Magnitude 5.2 earthquake. All right, it happened. It happened in right there, San Diego. See, and that happened today at 10:08. 10:08. See, a.m. Just to show that yeah, these things are happening around the world. Okay, let's see here. There's like a hurricane that hit China. Let's check this out real fast. So right here, typhoons. See, they call it a typhoon. You got typhoons here. Let me get another one here. It's kind of different here. Okay, so let me see here. Give me 1 second. Bear with me. So right here, it's yeah. So right here, it's a deadly storm has hit China. A hurricane is destroying everything in its path. Dozens dead. See that? So there's a lot happening. You guys gotta check that out. There's a lot of stuff happening around the world. Typhoons, hurricanes, earthquakes, mudslides, sinkholes, sandstorms. There's a lot happening around the earth. The Euphrates River drying up. There's a lot happening other than just, Trump and Iran and stuff like that. There's a lot happening. The signs of the UFOs, the signs of the chariots of Israel. There's a lot happening out there, you guys. All right, so this is what we're seeing. A time like never before. So right here, it's we're gonna go into Psalms 37 and 28. For the Lord Yahweh loveth judgment, and forsaketh not his saints. See that? So you guys gotta pay attention out there. You're gonna hit hard times. It's not like you're just gonna walk like this thing like nothing. You're gonna go through ups and downs, but the Lord is not gonna forsake his saints. So the Lord's right there. All right, he's right there. He's right there. They are preserved forever. The saints, the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. Right now, the Lord has the elect, but even the two-thirds, like P. Diddy, LeBron James, Beyonce, they're being witches and warlocks, right? They sold out to the left-hand side, which is fine. We don't get all worked up because that's their choice. So now they're going to feel that fire. That's one thing, because when people do stuff like that, we may say, yeah, like, may call him a name or something, but we're not going to get all bent out of shape because now you're going against the Lord. So there's nothing we can do. If you want to make that choice, that's why we don't trip even on our enemies. Okay, especially like the 2/3 of our people, it's like, shit, you want to go down that path, go for it. But that's crazy, That's insane. That's insanity because Esau, the so-called white man, he's gonna backstab you. I don't give a damn if you're his best agent. You do voodoo and all that. He's gonna turn around. He's gonna take you out, or he'll clone your ass and put your ass in a dungeon. All right. Remember, don't cry to us when that happens. When they're torturing the shit out of you in the dungeon and they clone you. Remember, you've been warned. All right. But remember, that's your choice. That's why we don't care. And people, they sold out. They think they're all, cool because they're wicked. That's all good. We can give two shits because Esau, at the end of the day, when he's done using you, he'll take you out and then the Lord, you already turned your back on the Lord. So you're a two-time loser for you sellouts out there, because Esau's gonna turn around and he's gonna get you because he's just using you. And then the Lord, you turned your back on the Lord, so the Lord's definitely not gonna help you. So you're through, all the way. You're just gonna be out there. For they are preserved forever. So even the wicked 2/3 who are going against the Lord, they're still gonna inherit the kingdom, because after they feel that fire, or however the Lord takes them out, earthquakes, pestilence, zombies, whatever, you name it, militia, UN troop, guillotine. Okay, there's a lot. Starvation. When that happens, okay, when that happens, you gotta know that they're still gonna come back in through the kingdom, because when the elect, procreate and have children, the 2/3 are gonna come back in as a fresh start. Yeah, they're gonna be walking around with their head down a little bit, but at the end of the day, right here, they are preserved forever. Let's get it again from the top. Psalms 37:28. Pay attention. Check it out. Because this is what comforts you. This is the comfort of the word. Because okay, look, well, shit, I might have to go down. Like, let's say you gotta die, whatever. Be brave. Be a soldier. Be bold and courageous. What are you gonna do? Either way, a lot of people are gonna get taken out. You want to get taken out for being a coward, or you want to be taken out for being a man, or a strong woman standing on your feet, saying, "Hell no, I'm not gonna bow down to these cowards, to these elites." How do you want to be remembered? Let's hear it. Psalms 37:28. For the Lord Yahweh loveth judgment, and forsaketh not his saints, because he's not gonna forget about you guys. All right, for real, like for real. They are preserved forever, see. But shall all, here we go. Check this out. Wait a minute. Hold on now. But the seed of the wicked shall be cut off. There it is. Because the wicked are going down, they're going down. So, we ain't tripping, And those that are part of the hopeful elect, we know, okay, yeah, there's a chance that we may get taken out, but so what? We're doing the work of the Lord, We're not, we're not out here lying. We're not trying to hurt people, We're not setting people up. So we have a good conscience, We don't need much to keep us happy, We're cool, Because, we got the Spirit of the Lord right here comforting us. You don't know that, we may make it with the Lord, but, we're honest, and yeah, we have slip ups, we're not perfect, and I'll be the first one to tell you that, yeah, I still sin, I try not to, but, we're in these fleshly bodies, but the thing is just that, because we're being honest, and we're not trying to do nothing wrong. So it's like, whatever happens, we have a good conscience. Like, hey, like Apostle Paul said, hey, I finished the work, now I know there's a crown laid up for me, because I know, well, if I make it or not, hey, I may not be part of that 144, but at least I'm trying, I'm being honest, I might not be, on a, like a top level, like the elders, but I'm honest, so it's like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's all about having that good conscience, because you're doing the right thing, in the eyes of the Lord. All right, so with that's it on today's lesson. On your feet, soldier. Shalom.